right, people of the internet, my name is Muthoni Jagero, and this is Dialogues with Jagero. We have been talking about going our separate ways in a cordial way, in a manner that is respectful to both parties, and in a manner that do not affect the children. And talking about children, it is always said that when two bulls fight, or it's a male bull and a female bull, it's the grass that usually gets gets injured, and that's why we're talking about the people that are always in the middle, and that's the children, how they get affected. So tell me about children. I don't know how do you tell them that this is done, this is over. We look about how it affects them, and a lot others that that is important to know when you are going through separation or divorce.
Okay, there is one major mistake that people who are uncoupling make, and that is to assume that these children are part of their belongings. And so we don't communicate with them openly. We just tell them, we are going here, we are going there, do this, do that, keep quiet. You have no say. But if we could look at these children as human beings, even though they are small, they do understand. We give them credit. Let's give them credit and explain to them in a language that is age appropriate. So you need to look at your children. Are they at an age where if I was to tell them we are going through divorce, they would understand? Do they know what is divorce? Or if they don't know, what other word can I use to explain to them that mommy and daddy are separating? And then you explain to them the way they would understand. You know they are your children, you know them better. You can use Kiswahili, mother tongue, whatever. But the core message should be that you're presenting a united front to the children. Let it not be you're pitching camps where you want the children to take your side because you have been wronged or you are the victim, and to hate the other parent because they have wronged you. Because remember, at the end of the day, this is their parent. Whether they did what to you, they will still be the parent of this child. They may not be your spouse anymore, but forever and ever, that will be their dad, that will be their mom. And you don't want to be the one telling them negative things about their parent. They love their parent. Their parent did not do. Perhaps some parents were abusive to them as well, but you don't have to tell them that this is how bad your parent is. Do not parentify, because sometimes we parentify our child when we play victim to them, and then they become our, what do we call it? They're our comforter, especially women and boy children. Yeah? Anytime a problem ensues, they go to tell their child, and their child now comes to break up the fight or to bring peace between them. And so even before you go through the divorce process, the children are already seeing. So when it becomes now, it's imminent, it's now, we are moving out, we are separating. If you're uncoupling consciously, I would advise you to talk about it with your partner and agree how you're going to break the news to the children. Because if you break the news to the children together, then they see there's a united front and the family is not breaking apart. A family is not just father, mother, children living under the same roof. Even if father is living in a different house, you're still a family. So present that united front, because it helps the children have a sense of security and a sense of they are still loved by both parents. They don't have to pick sides. So if you agree to tell the children together, the better. If you agree to tell them separately, choose the one who will speak to the children. And the one who is selected, please do not play victim. You can, for instance, my children are 10 years and 8 years, but by the time we were separating, they were younger. At 8 years and 10 years, they already know what divorce is, because they are being taught in school about, in religious education, they're being taught about family. They are being taught about a family that has a father and children, a family that has a mother and children, a family that used to have father and mother and they're separated. They are being taught these things. They are also looking at TV programs and they're learning what these things are. So I can actually sit them down and tell them that, use the word divorce. We are going to divorce, me and your father, but that doesn't mean that now we are enemies. It's just that the marriage is not working for us. We are not happy. And so you want us to be happy? Yes. Because when we are happy, we can also be good to you. We can be able to go to work and do everything we need to do, and life can be good. Yeah? Yeah. So if you want to see dad, you let me know. If you want to see mom, you let me know. That is the language you use with an 8 to 10-year-old. A smaller child than that may not understand. You can talk to them about best friends. See, so-and-so is your best friend. Yes. And what happens when you fight? When we fight, I don't like my friend. Yes. Even grown-ups, we fight sometimes. And when we fight, we don't want to be friends. It's not forever, but for right now, we are not friends. But we still love you. We are still there for you. And I'm just going to go to this house to cool off. Daddy will stay in this house or mommy will stay in this house. And we both love you very much. It's important to let them know that you're not at war. The family is not breaking up and you still love them. But now when parents are not talking, they're uncoupling anyhow. You will find the mother just packs the children and goes. No explanation, nothing. Sometimes they're even running, in the middle of the night. And this is very, very traumatic for the children, very traumatic. Because children don't process things the way we process them. Something that may not be a very big deal is the end of the world to a child, because you as the father and the mother, you're everything to these children. And when you're fighting and you're not together and now you're separated and you're fleeing and it's a matter of life and death, the world of this child, the whole world has crumbled, is falling apart. And because you're also so deep in your feels at that moment, you don't notice that these children are also getting affected, deeply affected. In fact, sometimes even more affected than you. Because for you, you're the reason why it's not working.
Yeah.
Or even if you're not the reason, you know why it's not working. The child doesn't know. And so when you're having really small children, it's so important, in as much as you're also going through so many things, pay attention to the children. And when you know you're not in a position to give the children because your own cup is empty, it is okay to leave the children with the other parent. Because you who's moving, you're destabilizing everything about them. You're destabilizing where they live, perhaps where they school, their friends, everything. If you were to leave, it would be easier on them, because it would just be one parent is gone, but everything else is stable the way we know it. But in this case, everything for them changes. So think about such things. If your your to-be ex is not abusive to the children, you really don't have to involve them in all this chaos, because sometimes even you leave and you come back. So then you ask yourself, so what was all that about? Why did I have to interrupt the school's education, the children's education and their routine and all that? Because the truth of the matter is sometimes we leave and we know we are not living permanently. Like, we have not really made up our mind. So why involve the innocent children in your disorganization? If the father or the other parent who is remaining with them can handle them, leave them. So that's about breaking news to the smaller children. The older children probably already are asking you, why are you still together? And sometimes we stay because of the children, but do not tell them that you're staying because of them. Yeah, because they can see maybe you're being abused every day, you're being mistreated and all that. And they have to come and break up the fights between you. They have to console one of you. And it becomes a very big responsibility for them, which a child should not have to carry such a responsibility. They're still a child. Let them have their childhood, And so when they come to ask you, why is it that you're always fighting? Why don't you resolve your issues? Or why don't you leave? Why don't you get divorced? I think you'd be better off that way. Don't tell them we are staying because of you. Because if you tell them that, then they feel it's their fault that you got your tooth broken. It's your fault you got your eardrum busted. It's your fault your hair was plucked out. Every time there's a fight, they will blame themselves. And you know what this will translate to? They'll carry that into their adulthood. And they'll become these peacemakers who thrive on making peace even when there should be chaos, you know. They will never stand up for themselves because they feel like they're causing conflict. They will even be abused and they will just keep it quiet for the sake of peace, you know. They will never know what peace is because they've grown up watching that and thinking it's okay because we are staying for the children. The moment you have children, it's a jail sentence. You can never leave. Yeah? So even them themselves will just repeat the same cycle and think it is normal. And anyone who comes to tell them that this is not normal, that person will be the enemy. They will not have a life better than yours. And of course, you want your children to do better than you, don't you? Some mistakes you made and then you came to realize later that I made a mistake. And you say, anyway, it's too late. But I hope my children know early enough so that they don't go through the same. But children don't listen to what you say. They watch what you do. So you can't tell them, you deserve to be respected when you yourself, you're taking disrespect every day. They will not take you seriously. So you have to teach them how to be for themselves so that they can have a better marriage if they do decide to get married. Now, for those who you find damage has already been done, you found out what you should have done, but you found it out a bit too late, and eventually you got yourself out. You're going to be going through a process of grieving. And when you're going through grieving, sometimes you forget about everyone around you. Like, it's just about you. You're so sad, you can't see what is happening. You're isolating yourself, you're locking yourself in your bedroom the whole day. If you're going to work, you go to work, you come home, straight to the bedroom and you lock with the key. And the kids are coming to talk to you and you're like, I can't talk, I'm tired. You know, there's this thing about grieving that just all your energy is spent on your emotions, such that physically you're drained. You have no energy for anything. And before you know it, you've been neglecting and ignoring your children for such a long period of time that you don't notice they are also grieving. And children can even go into depression. There's depression for children. And if you're not keen, you can miss it. And if you miss it, it can develop into something worse that even manifests physically. You know, you find a child doesn't want to go to school in the morning and you don't know why. They're living in fear. You know, you find in the morning you wake a child up to go to school, they have a stomachache. That stomachache is not really because they ate something bad. It's a manifestation of an emotional thing. There's something going on emotionally, which is manifesting in having a stomachache every morning. Or they never used to wet their bed, and then all of a sudden they are wetting their bed. Some form of regression happens, yeah? A child who was not using diapers now goes back to using diapers. They are moving backwards. It means they are psychologically affected. Sometimes you may also not notice all this, but the teachers or the other caregiver after you may notice it. And that's why I think it's important to be close to the teachers. Be close to your children's class teachers. These people know a lot. And even if it's not just through observation, the children talk. They talk, you know, like the way you ask a question in class and one child raises the hand, you pick them, and the kind of example they give, there is no way they would give such an example unless they're seeing it at home, you know. And a teacher who's keen will probe to get to know more. And when they get to know more, that child will open up, because sometimes all they need is an avenue to open up, because they don't have that at home. And when they open up, then the teacher can know what to do from there. Either they call you, or you yourself have to take initiative and tell the teacher, maybe they're in a class that is big, so they may not notice quickly. Talk to the teacher and tell the teacher, this and this is happening at home, and I'm concerned about my child. Have you noticed anything? And if they hadn't noticed, they'll be keen to observe. And whatever they get from that child, they will tell you. Some of them will even refer you to social workers and, you know, counselors, child psychologists who can help you. And when you go to a child psychologist, you'll have, you know, one session with the psychologist, because you have to also give a foundation of why you're bringing this child here. And you tell them, it's because we are going through a divorce. The class teacher noticed 1, 2, 3. There are things that this child is not telling me, Or I also don't have the capacity to handle whatever they are telling me because I'm also going through my own things. I need your professional help. They will cancel you, and then now they'll have sessions alone with the child. Most professionals will have a separate room that makes it really comfortable for the child. Like the room will have a carpet and toys for the child and drawing books and colors and all that. And, you know, they paint the walls nicely so that the child is not intimidated.
Yeah.
And they don't just go and ask, what is your problem? No. They let the child play and they observe. You know, for a child that age, the younger ones, play is life to them. And how they play says a lot. Do they sit in a corner and just sit in a timid way and just watch you because you're a stranger? Do they rush for the crayons and draw very aggressive things? And or how do they behave? Psychologists know what to look out for. And when the child is comfortable and can open up, now they start talking. You know, they ask them, how are you? I'm fine. How are you feeling? I'm okay. What do you love most? And they'll say, and who do you miss most? And then they'll say, I miss my daddy. And now you can say, oh, when was the last time you saw him? And the child will say, I've not seen him for so long. Why? What happened? And the child will open up. Daddy beat mommy up and mommy ran away with us and I'm scared of all men and my teacher is a man, you know, and things just come. They come naturally. And the psychologist knows what to do from there.
I hope that you're enjoying this program. Over the last 15 years, I have been working online for clients in America, in Europe, and all over the world. And that is why it pains me a lot when I see a lot of African brothers and sisters saying that they do not have a job. Now, this is the problem. A lot of people are trying to look for a job in 2024 in their own town, in their local area. Now, the truth is, there are no jobs in Africa, at least not so many jobs. The good news is that we have internet these days. We have a tablet, we have a computer, we have a phone, and that means that we can do a lot of jobs, and those jobs are online. That is why over the last 4 years I've been writing a book that is called Digital Goldmine. It is a book that explains to you how you can earn money online. The 18 hustles that I've chosen are basically for Africans, because what happens when you are doing online jobs is that payment is usually a problem. So these 18 side hustles that I have put together in this book, you can be paid very well and very conveniently. Okay, so the book is only 1,000 Kenya shillings. That is about $10. You can buy it in Kenya using paybill number. You can buy it online from anywhere in the world using a credit or a debit card. All the information about this book is in the description below. And if you have a brother, you have a wife, you have a husband, you have a friend who is sitting at home and watching Netflix, please do buy this book for them. If you are the one sitting at home and watching Netflix and have nothing to do, please buy this book and your life is gonna change forever. Because I have been doing this online and I've been traveling and I've been enjoying myself and having a lot of fun. So thank you very much, and now back to programming.
But other times, you're referred by court, because sometimes when you're going through the acrimonious and litigious process where you're fighting over the children in court, the court may elect on its own to have a children's officer interview the child. And so you may be asked to do, the officer may be asked to do a home visit, or you're told to produce the children in court. And there is a counseling room for children in the children's Milimani. I don't know if the other courts have them. And they know how they can get this information from the child, away from you. Yeah, so they'll be somewhere privately and they will guide them, ask them leading questions that will make them open up. And if this child needs more help, they will be able to be diagnosed by a professional and they'll get the help they need. If staying with the parent who has physical custody is what is causing harm to them, then orders will be issued for perhaps the other parent to take custody, or any other person in the best interest of the child. Because sometimes you may be in such a bad position psychologically yourself. Imagine if you're going through depression or anxiety, and now you're not able to take care of this child, aren't you doing more damage to the child? Isn't it better for this child to be saved from you, even if it's momentarily, than to insist on keeping physical custody of this child and you're not there? You're physically there, but you're absent. You don't have the capability or the capacity to give this child what the child needs. And that's why I say, let us not fight ego fights using the children. Let's not use the children as weapons or pawns. You know you cannot take care of them, but you're not going to allow them to be with the other parent because you want the other parent to suffer. You want to punish them in a way. So look out for change of behavior in children. Look out for regression. Be close to either the house help, nanny, or class teacher, whoever who spends more time with them. And if you do have the ability and the capacity to listen to them, do it. In as much as you're going through your own things, you're going through the stigma, the pain, the grieving, financial difficulties, all that, spare at least some time of your day to talk to them genuinely. Find out what it is they have to say. Let them not feel like they're wronging you by telling you they miss the other parent because they're supposed to be taking your side. Don't. And don't ask them things like, how was your day? That's a very general question, which they would say, it was good. And you take that and you're comfortable. No. Ask specific questions like, what made you happy today? Is there something that made you sad? List the things that made you sad. Did you have a fight with somebody today? Did anything make you cry? What made you cry? What did you eat today? What would you rather eat? You know, small questions like that can lead them to disclosing a lot more, which they wouldn't disclose by asking, how was your day? Yeah. I have not dealt with teenagers, so I wouldn't know much about teenagers. But for young children, that is basically how it unfolds. Yeah.
Sometimes you are sharing, you're co-parenting, and the kids are going the other side or going this way or remaining here. And one of the parents is starting to realize that when on the other side, things are not all right.
Yeah.
So probably they're getting into an abusive environment when they're going the other side. How do you react to this? What actions do you take to make sure that the children, although the courts have said that okay, the other spouse must also have the children, and you're realizing that there is something really wrong the other side, and I don't want to expose my children. These children are not supposed to be exposed to these kind of things. Yeah.
Yes. It takes us back to the issue of court is dealing with very, very many cases. Even in one day, court is dealing with so many cases. And so you as the parent are the one who knows your child better than anybody else. And I would say how we have been raised is, you know, a man is a protector and a provider and all that. But the moment you divorce, I tell women, put on that hat of protector. You are the one to protect your children. Yeah? This man is not your protector anymore. And something that is quite unfortunate with African men, the moment they divorce their wife, they also divorce their children. Yeah? And so how do you expect him to care about your children? Because now they become your children. I'm not saying all men are like this. No, there are men who are actually genuinely connected to their children. But the larger percentage, from my experience and my observation in my practice of law and also coaching, most men really treat their children how they treat their mother. So if you don't like the mother, you've separated, you really don't have much business with these children. So you as a woman, become the protector of your child. It doesn't matter what the law says, become the protector of the child. And if you notice that this man has been given custody, but when the children go there, they come back with issues, a myriad of issues. Last time they came back with bruises. This time somebody has a broken arm. You know, serious things, not small things like, you know, some things are small and you don't need to make a big deal out of them in the spirit of co-parenting. But if your child is not safe, mentally or physically, you need to stand up for them. You can always go back to court and request that this access be limited to daytime access, no sleepovers, or this access be limited to supervised access or visitation, such that whatever it is that is going on that other side gets resolved, if it will ever get resolved. Because whatever orders come out are perpetual until the child is 18. You can always go back and review. And that time when people have divorced or separated, that is a highly emotive stage, highly emotive. People have not gotten over what has happened, and so they tend to take it out on the wrong parties. And in this case, it's the children, because they are the helpless ones. And you know that this person loves these children so much. If I want to get to them, I will use the children. So they may do some things intentionally, aiming at the other person, forgetting that they are hurting the children. And given a period of time, maybe 5 years, 10 years, they would not do the same thing because they are not in the same place emotionally. They are over the breakup. They are over the divorce. And now they can see clearly, or it's not about the children, it's about the other person. So immediately after divorce, be very, very keen on what the children are going through and what the children are telling you. And another thing about divorce is that men don't stay single for long. They replace the wife very quickly. Perhaps because men don't know how to live alone. Most men don't know how to live by themselves. They need a woman around there. And even if it wasn't intentional, they just find themselves having someone there. Maybe she came to, alikuwa mama fua. Then she started cooking. And then we started eating together. And then, so they get married unintentionally, or they get somebody. So by the time the children are coming to visit, there is someone there. Yeah. And by the time they are coming next weekend, another different person. And nobody's talking to them to tell them who
are these people?
And so they get a warped idea of relationships. Yeah. Not necessarily that you're serious about these women, but you're lonely and all that. These are things that you need to protect your children from. Even if you have many people supporting you through your divorce process, let them not interfere with your parenting, especially at the very beginning of the divorce process. Be the face of the family. Don't bring other people who are passers-by. They're not there to stay. Protect your children mentally, and talk about it if you can with them, depending on their age. What is happening? Who are these people? Yeah? Let them also tell you how they feel about these people. And when you let them tell you how they feel about these people, they will tell you, they will actually expose some fears that they have. They can even ask you, are you replacing mom or dad? Are you replacing? Does it mean you don't love our mom anymore? And for a child, the moment they get to know you don't love their parent, they automatically translate it to you love them less. Because they are a part of this parent who you're claiming not to love. You don't necessarily have to tell them, I love your mom, even though she's my ex. You can tell them something like, we are friends. I'm not replacing her. I cannot replace her or him, but I'm lonely. I need company as well. You have friends, right? You go out to play. I don't have friends. How do you feel when you have friends? I'm happy. Do you want me to be happy as well? Yes. So I have a friend. Just find age-appropriate language that they can understand.
Yeah.
And let them know that you'll never replace their parent, their other parents. And you don't love them, the child, any less, because now there's somebody else who is ironing your clothes, cooking for you, doing what their mom or their dad used to do. Yeah.
There is supervised parenting. The one you talked about. How does that happen? How does it work specifically?
All right. Supervised is normally visitation. Supervised visitation. Where, for instance, you're divorcing somebody. This is just a random example. Because they have a drug addiction problem, or they're alcoholic. And when they're alcoholic, they behave in a manner that is harmful to them and to anyone around them. And so this is not somebody you can give unsupervised access to the children because, number one, they're alcoholic. They can't do without that alcohol, or they can't do without those drugs. So you don't give an intoxicated person children to drive with. No. You say that it has to be supervised either by yourself, but if you cannot see eye to eye, you cannot even sit on the same table, you can't sit in the same car, you appoint a third party to supervise. It doesn't have to be a stranger. It can even be your house help. Yeah? Your house help is very comfortable with the children and knows when they need to feed, when they need to change, when they need all that. So you just agree, these visits are going to be supervised by my nanny. So you put them in a cab, and they go to the place where they are meeting, be it at a mall or even at the guy's place, whatever is comfortable and safe. And they stay there the whole day, and then when it's time to come back home, they come back with the nanny. Or it could be an uncle, anybody. You appoint anybody you want. But
the appointment should be agreeable to both parties?
Yes, mostly it's agreeable to both parties, unless one of you just wants to make the process difficult and say, these people, I don't want her relatives. I don't want anyone from that side. So now you have to start getting friends, but friends are not that invested in these children because, they're not that related. They also have their own lives.
Yeah.
I think it's not, you shouldn't complicate things that are simple. So what is the problem if this person supervises the kids? If you have a personal vendetta against this person, fine, bring your own supervisor, let there be two supervisors.
Yeah.
But as long as you agree, somebody who you can respect, not somebody who just you can beat up if you feel they are, somebody who you can respect so that your kids feel safe as well.
Thank you so much, Christine.
You're
I
welcome.
have learned so much as a person, and I hope that the audience is going to learn a lot about this series. We are remaining with 2, right?
Yes.
And then we are done. I think that one of the things that I've gotten from so far in this episode is that the children do not need to suffer. As a matter of fact, nobody needs to suffer after the divorce, because I think that the reason why people are going their separate ways is to try and rebuild their lives, having gone through a treacherous period. Yeah, so thank you very much, the audience. I hope that you learned something today. If you have a question, you can always shoot it down in the comments. If it is directed to Christine, Christine is a divorce coach, and she can always talk to you when you have an issue. She's also having a book called Conscious Uncoupling that you can buy from Nuria Workshop. The link we will leave in the description. So I would ask you that you subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, and tap on that notification bell so that when we have episode 6, right? Episode 7. Episode 7, yes. You can be able to know that it is out. So until another episode, thank you very much and bye for now.